Internal Affairs Internal Investigation IA 2025-032 Corporal Russell Epeards No. 2312 DFC Jacob Earner No. 3297 DFC Sean O'Keefe No. 3340 DFC Timothy DeGrasse No. 3591 Deputy Daniel Wilson No. 3836 Investigator, Lieutenant John Hamp Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Summary of Incident on the evening of February 4, 2025, Bondsman Nicholas Santiago was actively searching for a wanted female in the Englewood area of Charlotte County and developed information of her possibly being at the homeless camps within the jurisdiction of Sarasota County near Englewood Hospital. Santiago requested assistance from Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, CCSO, Corporal Russell Epeards. Corporal Epeards contacted Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, SCSO, deputies, and all met in the area of Englewood Hospital for the purpose of attempting to locate subjects with active warrants. While on scene, CCSO deputies briefly chased a subject who fled on foot from a Sarasota deputy. CCSO deputies utilized hands-on force as well as show of force, taser, in assisting Sarasota County deputies take the subject into custody. On February 13, 2025, Michelle Dragon provided information about locating body-worn camera, BWC, videos that may be improperly labeled as there appeared to be uses of force involved as well as an arrest. The incident involved an agency assist call for service with Sarasota County Sheriff's Office within the jurisdiction of Sarasota County in reference to case number 2502-002832. A preliminary investigation was conducted by Lieutenant John Waterhouse, the District 1 commander, and additional information was obtained. The preliminary investigation revealed body-worn cameras were not turned on at initial contact, BWC videos were improperly labeled, and there was no documentation of the incident, nor the force utilized. This information was reviewed by command staff, Major Kenville, and based on the totality of the circumstances, an internal affairs investigation was requested. Initial primary investigation involves Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Policy GO 3.50I.4.B.3 violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property. Notification of internal investigation on February 27, 2025, Corporal Russell Epeards, DFC Sean O'Keefe, Deputy Daniel Wilson, and DFC Jacob Earner were notified and served notice of the internal investigation. On March 3, 2025, DFC Timothy DeGrasse was notified and served notice of the internal IA 2025-032 page 1 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office investigation. The investigation would pertain to Charlotte County Sheriff's Office General Order 3.50I.4.B.3 neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property. On the dates listed above, all deputies were provided and signed a confidentiality of internal investigations form and provided with a copy of the Police Officer Bill of Rights. Charlotte County Sheriff's Office General Order/Patrol Procedure Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Operations Manual General Order 3.50 GO 3.50I.4.B.3 Neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property, more specifically OCCSOGO 11.52 BWC and mobile video recorders O Patrol Procedure P007 BWC System and mobile video recorder OCCSOGO 11.19, Use of force OCCSOGO 11.41 Taser GO 3.50I.4.B.15 Neglect of duty offenses Neglect of duty, loafing, inattention to duties or procedures, GO 3.50I.4.B.14, neglect of duty offenses, completion of reports and documents GO 3.50I.4.D.12 improper conduct offenses conduct unbecoming members of the office will not ignore or violate official directives, general orders, policies, procedures, orders, or supervisors' instructions, or fail to properly execute the duties and responsibilities of their assigned position. Summary of Internal Affairs Investigation. The summary information below was obtained from CCSO memorandums, reports, inner office emails, body-worn camera, BWC, videos, as well as witness and subject officer statements. Initial preliminary information on February 13, 2025, Records Unit Assistant Supervisor Michelle Dragon was comparing BWC videos to recent arrests, ensuring the BWC videos were properly categorized for retention purposes. Michelle Dragon provided a sworn taped statement that during her daily duties she noticed BWC videos in case number 2502-002832 appeared to have involved uses of force and involved an arrest of a subject, though some of the videos were categorized as false activation. Dragon advised that she correctly categorized some of the videos for retention purposes so they would not IA 2025-032 page 2 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office get purged within 90 days since they were labeled as false. Dragon also stated that there was no ACES report documenting the incident. Dragon then reported her findings to Lieutenant John Hamp. Lieutenant John Hamp, reviewed some of the BWC videos involving this case number and found there appeared to be force used to effect an arrest, though no use of force/show of force reports were available in Blue Team 6, computer program where use of force and show of force is documented. I then checked ACES for any reports documenting the incident. Only a CAD call was located that was closed as CAD update/no report. The incident appeared to have occurred near the Charlotte-Sarasota County line off Pine St in the Englewood/District 1 area. I contacted Lieutenant John Waterhouse for preliminary investigation. Lieutenant Waterhouse completed a memo to Major James Kenville of his findings. Lieutenant Waterhouse researched the agency assist call for service with case number 2502-002832. The call was generated on February 4, 2025, at approximately 9:47 p.m. with a location of Pine St/E 7th St. Deputies assigned to the call consisted of Corporal Russell Epeards, DFC Sean O'Keefe, DFC Timothy DeGrasse, Deputy Daniel Wilson, and Corporal Paul Underwood. Upon review of evidence.com, several BWC videos existed of the above-mentioned deputies as well as DFC Jacob Earner. Lieutenant Waterhouse provided a sworn taped statement and advised the BWC videos showed hands-on force to take a person into custody, tasers removed and activated, as well as excessive language used by DFC O'Keefe. Lieutenant Waterhouse advised that BWCs were not activated until tasers were activated. He also stated he observed some of the videos in evidence.com were labeled as false activation. Waterhouse advised the videos did not meet the requirement for false activation. He advised he correctly changed a couple of labels for retention purposes. Lieutenant Waterhouse further advised there were no Blue Team reports completed nor a report documenting the incident. Lieutenant Waterhouse stated there was no reason for the delay in completing reports and his subordinates are aware of his expectations of completing reports by the end of shift. Lieutenant Waterhouse asked Sergeant Chris Carney to find out more about this incident and directed him to have reports completed. Sergeant Carney had the members involved complete incident reports and Blue Team reports. Sergeant Carney learned of several issues concerning BWC procedures, use of force procedures, reporting procedures, professionalism, and supervisory responsibilities. Sergeant Carney counseled his members on the observed policy issues as well as his expectations and documented this counseling in each member's evaluation. The ACES report and supplements that were generated showed the members responded to the area of Englewood Hospital located at 700 IA 2025-032 page 3 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Medical Boulevard Englewood, Sarasota County in assisting Sarasota County Sheriff's deputies locate wanted subjects in nearby homeless camps. A wanted person, Brian Burke, was being interviewed by a Sarasota deputy and ran on foot. CCSO deputies were able to stop the subject and utilized hands-on force to subdue him. On February 19, 2025, after receiving the information from Lieutenant Waterhouse, Major Kenville requested an internal investigation into this matter. Review: CAD information / BWC videos Axon audits. At the time of the preliminary investigation there was no ASIS report for case number 250-200-2832. I reviewed Tritech CAD and found that a call was generated for this incident by Corporal Epeards, radio ID number 106. The call was generated on February 4, 2025, at approximately 9:47 p.m. as a Signal 059 agency assist with location as Sarasota County line pins ST/E 7th Saint. This call was closed on February 5, 2025, at approximately 1:37 a.m. by DFC DeGrasse, radio ID number 120, with disposition 01 CAD update / no report. No other narrative was found in the CAD. I reviewed BWC videos on evidence.com. There were 7 videos in reference to this incident from Corporal Epeards, Corporal Underwood, DFC O'Keefe, DFC Earner, DFC DeGrasse, and DEP Wilson. CAD reports show deputies on scene in the area of Englewood Hospital at approximately 9:47 p.m. BWCs were activated at approximately 10:44 p.m. Deputies were on scene for almost an hour before BWCs were activated, recording. BWCs were only activated by taser activations by DFC O'Keefe and Deputy Wilson, except for DFC DeGrasse, who conducted a button press on his BWC to start recording when the suspect took flight. Below is a summary of each BWC video, all of which were approximately 2 to 4 minutes in length. Corporal Epeards, Subject Officer BWC video number 1, Audit Log number 1, recording started on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 44 minutes and 9 seconds by taser activation signal serial number X4000AV75, O'Keefe. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours 44 minutes and 14 seconds. Epeards changes category to MISCs on February 5, 25 at 4 hours 59 minutes and 54 seconds. On February 10, 25 at 14:09 Michelle Dragon added misdemeanor / investigation to category for retention purposes. IA 2025-032 page 4 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office description, video is approximately 32 seconds long. Member appears to be walking through wooded area then starts to jog. No sound is available due to the 30-second pre-event. Alert is heard coming from BWC and camera recording is stopped. Video number 2, Audit Log number 2, recording started on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 44 minutes and 29 seconds by taser activation signal serial number X4001DT4M, Wilson. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours 46 minutes and 34 seconds. Epeards changes category to MISCs on February 5, 25 at 5 hours 8 minutes and 25 seconds. On February 10, 25 at 14 hours 8 minutes and 38 seconds Michelle Dragon changes category to misdemeanor / investigation for retention purposes. Description: video is approximately 2 minutes and 10 seconds long. Member appears to continue through woods to a tent / camp area. No sound is available for the first 13 seconds. Epeards is observed shine his flashlight at multiple deputies, Wilson, O'Keefe, DeGrasse, Earner, and Sarasota Deputy Yoder, who are trying to secure a male subject. A deputy is heard state, "You are going to get tossed." Epeards is then seen looking behind him where bondsman Santiago is located. In the background can be heard DFC O'Keefe using foul language at the suspect. Sarasota Deputy Taylor and CCSO Corporal Underwood are observed at the entrance to the tent a short distance from the deputies trying to secure the subject identified as Brian Burke. As the deputies walk out, Corporal Epeards is looking toward the deputies and DFC. O'Keefe is heard again using profanity toward the suspect after he has been secured. Corporal Underwood, witness BWC video audit log, recording started on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 44 minutes and 24 seconds by taser activation signal serial number X4000AV75, O'Keefe. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours and 47 minutes. Underwood adds case number 2502-002832 as ID and misdemeanor/investigation as category on February 5, 25 at 12:45 a.m. Description: member appears to be jogging through wooded area with Epeards jogging in front of him. No sound is available for the first 30 seconds due to the pre-event. A commotion can be heard once the sound starts. Underwood enters a tent area and O'Keefe can be heard using profanity at suspect Brian. Underwood stays toward the entrance to the tent and is looking around. There is a limited view of the deputies with the suspect who appears to be secured. All subjects leave the tent/camp area and Underwood's BWC stops recording by button push. IA 2025-032 page 5 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office DFC DeGrasse, Subject Officer BWC Video Audit Log, started recording on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 43 minutes and 39 seconds due to button press. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours 47 minutes and 28 seconds. DeGrasse changes category to false activation on February 5, 25 at 5 hours 16 minutes and 6 seconds. On February 10, 25 at 14:09 Michelle Dragon added misdemeanor/investigation to category for retention purposes. On February 13, 25 at 15:05 Lieutenant Waterhouse adds use of force to category and removes false activation. Description: video shows Sarasota Deputy Yoder talking with suspect Burke. No sound is available for the first 30 seconds due to the pre-event. The suspect is observed off to the side and then goes under a fence and starts running through a wooded area. DeGrasse runs after the suspect. The video shows DeGrasse and O'Keefe hands-on with suspect. The video shows O'Keefe with his taser drawn and activated and pointed at suspect. Suspect does not comply and hands-on force continues. DFC Earner is observed with hands-on force with the suspect by holding suspect's hair and arm around suspect, holding him with arm between chest and chin area. The video reflects the excessive foul language by O'Keefe toward the suspect. The video shows Wilson with taser drawn and activated. DFC Earner, Subject Officer BWC Video Audit Log, started recording on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 43 minutes and 58 seconds by taser activation signal serial number X4000AB75, O'Keefe. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours 46 minutes and 43 seconds. Earner does not label video with ID or change category. Category is not changed until Mitchell Dragon enters system on February 13, 25 at 11:40 and adds misdemeanor/investigation to category. Description: video shows Earner following DeGrasse, who appears to be going after suspect through a wooded area. No sound is available for the first 30 seconds due to the pre-event. Video shows DeGrasse and O'Keefe hands-on with the suspect. The video shows O'Keefe with taser drawn and activated, pointed at the suspect. The video shows DeGrasse, O'Keefe, and Earner using hands-on force with the suspect. Earner can be seen holding the suspect by his hair. The video shows Wilson with taser drawn and activated and pointed toward the suspect. Video captures the foul language of O'Keefe toward the suspect after he is secured. IA 2025-032 page 6 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Deputy Wilson, Subject Officer BWC Video Audit Log, started recording on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 43 minutes and 58 seconds by taser activation signal serial number X4000AB75, O'Keefe. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours 45 minutes and 39 seconds. Wilson changes category to false activation on February 5, 25 at 6 hours 14 minutes and 33 seconds. Wilson updated evidence title from 059 Agency Assist to false activation on February 8, 25 at 3 hours 3 minutes and 37 seconds. On February 10, 25 at 14:06 Michelle Dragon changes evidence title from false activation to Agency Assist. She also added misdemeanor/investigation and use of force to category. On February 13, 25 at 15:20, LT Waterhouse removed false activation from category. Description: video starts with Wilson and O'Keefe in a tent/camp area. No sound is available for the first 30 seconds due to the pre-event. O'Keefe is observed meeting up with DeGrasse, who is hands-on with suspect Burke. O'Keefe goes hands-on as well, and all three go to the ground, cluttered with property. Earner is observed joining the deputies while Wilson shines a flashlight on the group and draws his taser. O'Keefe draws his taser while Wilson holsters his. The suspect continues to resist, and the deputies struggle to secure him. Sarasota Deputy Yoder goes hands-on with the suspect and Wilson gets closer to the group. Wilson is heard asking the suspect if he sees the taser and states he will be tossed. Wilson is observed putting the taser against the suspect's collarbone area. O'Keefe is heard using foul language directed at the suspect while using his name Brian. The foul language continues after the suspect is secured in handcuffs. DFC O'Keefe, Subject Officer BWC video audit log, started recording on February 4, 25 at 22 hours 43 minutes and 57 seconds by taser activation signal serial number X4000AV75, O'Keefe. Recording stopped due to button press at 22 hours 46 minutes and 18 seconds. O'Keefe changes ID and category to false activation at 4:25. On February 10, 25 at approximately 14:06, Michelle Dragon changes title from false activation to agency assist, ID from false activation to 250-200-2832, and use of force is added to category. On February 13, 25 at 15:04, Lieutenant Waterhouse removes false activation from category. Description: video starts with O'Keefe moving toward the subject running and DeGrasse is observed tackle the subject. All three fell to the ground, cluttered with property. No sound is available for the first 30 seconds due to the pre-event. Earner then joins and all three attempt to IA 2025-032 page 7 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office take the subject into custody. O'Keefe is then observed drawing and activating his taser, telling deputies to back up. Deputies continue to struggle with the subject in attempts to handcuff. Earner is observed holding the subject by his hair and has his arm around the subject with his elbow between the subject's chest and chin. The video shows Wilson with taser drawn and activated and placed on the subject's chest area then collarbone area, telling the subject he will be tossed. The video shows O'Keefe holding the subject by the back of his neck. O'Keefe can be heard using foul language directed at the subject named Brian. The subject is secured in handcuffs, and O'Keefe is heard continue with foul language toward the subject as deputies escort the subject out of the tent/camp area. Corporal Epeards is observed nearby when this occurs. Witness statement information: witnesses in this case include Michelle Dragon, CCSO Records Unit, Lieutenant John Waterhouse, District 1 Commander, SGT Chris Carney, D1 Supervisor, Corporal Paul Underwood, Warrants Unit, Deputy James Taylor, Sarasota County, Deputy Jessica Yoder, Sarasota County, and Nicholas Santiago, bail bondsman. Michelle Dragon is an assistant supervisor in the CCSO Records Unit. On February 21, 2025, a sworn taped statement was obtained from Dragon. Dragon advised on February 13, 2025, as part of her daily duties, she reviewed pass-on for arrests and cases to compare to BWC videos to ensure videos are categorized correctly for retention purposes. She advised she came across notes in pass-on for case number 2502-002832 that involved an arrest of a subject during an agency assist call. She reviewed BWC videos and discovered some of the videos were labeled as false activation, though she had observed deputies were hands-on with a subject. She also observed that tasers had been drawn. Dragon advised she changed some of the labeling on some of the videos so the videos would not be purged in 90 days. Dragon stated she reported her findings to Lieutenant Hamp. Lieutenant John Waterhouse. Lieutenant Waterhouse is the district commander overseeing the Englewood area of Charlotte County. Lieutenant Waterhouse's taped statement was consistent with his memo written to Major Kenville as explained in the above section labeled Initial Preliminary Information. IA 2025-032 page 8 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Chris Carney. Sergeant Carney is the sergeant in charge of District 1 Squad B and the supervisor of the involved deputies in this incident. Sergeant Carney was off duty at the time of the incident and had no knowledge of the incident until requested by Lieutenant Waterhouse to obtain preliminary information. On February 27, 2025, a sworn taped statement was obtained from Sergeant Carney. Carney reviewed BWC videos and noticed several procedural violations to include no blue team reports for the force used, no incident report, no supervisor coverage, BWCs were not activated at initial contact, and excessive language by O'Keefe. Carney talked with the members involved and he was told that they did not write reports as they thought Sarasota County would document everything. Carney explained to his subordinates that he was counseling them on the violations he observed. Carney stated afterwards Corporal Epeards approached him and apologized to him for putting him and the lieutenant in this position. He also advised the other deputies agreed that they should have completed the necessary reports. Carney advised his subordinates are well aware of his expectations and their actions during this incident are not the norm. Carney advised after he counseled his subordinates concerning this incident, DeGrasse called him to apologize and explained that the whole situation did not seem right, and he did not know what to do. Corporal Paul Underwood. Corporal Underwood is a warrants unit supervisor and was working in the Englewood area when the agency assist call was created. On February 28, 2025, a sworn taped statement was obtained from Corporal Underwood. Underwood advised he responded to the call as he noticed the call involved subjects with warrants. He learned that there were subjects with Charlotte County warrants and according to bondsman, Nick Santiago, the subjects were possibly at campsites in Sarasota County near Englewood Hospital. He advised a couple of Sarasota County deputies were on scene. Underwood stated he was not aware of any force used by Deputy Earner on scene, and he did not observe any force utilized by anyone. He later learned his BWC was activated by a taser and after the subject had been taken into custody, he heard O'Keefe talking about a taser activation and heard someone say that they would have to do a use of force because they pulled their taser. Underwood assumed the reports were going to be completed and he labeled his BWC video as a misdemeanor. Underwood advised that he does not recall hearing the excessive foul language at the time it was occurring, but when he later reviewed BWC video he noticed that the language was excessive and not necessary. IA 2025-032 page 9 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Deputy James Taylor. Deputy Taylor is a deputy with Sarasota County Sheriff's Office who responded with SCSO Deputy Yoder to the area of Englewood Hospital in reference to this incident. On March 3, 2025, a sworn taped statement was obtained from Deputy Taylor. Taylor stated someone with CCSO called his partner Deputy Yoder to go to the area of Englewood Hospital due to subjects with warrants, specifically a female. He stated the female was not located but a male named Brian with a warrant was located. He stated the male subject was giving a false name to his partner and eventually ran off into the woods. He stated CCSO deputies ran after the subject while he and Deputy Yoder stayed back. Taylor stayed in the back of the tent area as there were other subjects in the tents and he focused his attention on them. He advised he did not see any force used to secure the subject, nor did he see any intermediate weapons utilized. He advised he did hear someone say, "I will tase you." Taylor does not recall any inappropriate language being used by any CCSO deputies. Deputy Jessica Yoder. Deputy Yoder is a deputy with Sarasota County Sheriff's Office who responded with SCSO Deputy Taylor to the area of Englewood Hospital in reference to this incident. On March 4, 2025, a sworn taped statement was obtained from Deputy Yoder. Yoder advised she was contacted by Corporal Epeards in reference to a female who had an active warrant who may be in the homeless camps near the hospital and asked if she was available to respond. Both she and Deputy Taylor responded and met CCSO deputies. They began checking the tent areas and she eventually came across a subject named Brian Burke. She found that Burke possibly had warrants. Burke was insistent on going to the bathroom and a Charlotte deputy said he could use the bathroom. Burke then ran off. Yoder advised there was debris all over and she could hear the guys trying to get Burke. She walked toward their direction and found that deputies had stopped Burke, and she joined in and secured one of Burke's hands. Yoder was asked if she observed anyone using any other weapons to secure the subject and she advised that she was not involved in the initial detainment but came in during the middle. Yoder advised she did not see any CCSO deputy with a taser but heard someone say if you do not stop you are going to be tossed. Yoder does not remember nor recall any unprofessional or inappropriate language being used by CCSO deputies. Yoder advised she did not charge Brian Burke with resisting. IA 2025-032 page 10 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Nicholas Santiago is a bondsman for Blanding bail bonds. Santiago was present during this incident at the homeless camps near Englewood Hospital. On March 5, 2025, a sworn taped statement was obtained from Santiago. Santiago advised that he was looking for a female with a warrant and he contacted Corporal Epeards for assistance in checking the homeless camp area near Englewood Hospital. He stated Corporal Epeards then contacted Sarasota County Sheriff's Office deputies to respond. Santiago advised they did not locate the intended female they were looking for and he observed the female SCSO deputy talking with a male subject. He then walked away to check another tent with a female and then heard someone say he is running. He returned to the area and observed the deputies bring out a male from the woods. He did not observe anyone taking the subject into custody. When asked about any foul language being used, Santiago advised he did not hear anything. Summary of subject officer statements to Internal Affairs. The statements below from all subject officers are consistent with the facts gathered with some minor differences. To summarize all deputies' statements, the deputies met at a shopping plaza off Plachita Road prior to meeting SCSO deputies at Englewood Hospital within Sarasota County. All deputies advised they again all assembled in the area of the abandoned roads behind Englewood Hospital. The reason for going out of county was to check homeless camps in attempts to locate a female subject with a warrant and possibly Jacques Gentis who has an active warrant as well. All deputies did not activate their BWCs prior to checking the homeless camps. One deputy, Deputy DeGrasse, stated that prior to going out to the camps there was communication by Corporal Epeards not to activate their BWCs. The other subject officers did not testify to this. A different subject, Brian Burke, was located within the homeless camp with a warrant who ran from a SCSO deputy. CCSO deputies advised hands-on force was utilized as well as tasers being drawn to secure the subject. Deputies advised no reports were completed and BWC videos were labeled as false activations. Deputies advised after the incident took place, they all discussed labeling the BWC videos as false activations, therefore no use/show of force reports would be needed. Deputies DeGrasse, Wilson, and Earner all heard Deputy O'Keefe on scene use excessive foul language toward the subject being arrested. Deputy O'Keefe took responsibility for his language directed at the subject Brian Burke. Corporal Epeards was forthcoming. IA 2025-032 page 11 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office in his statement as to his shortcomings as the supervisor during this incident. Below is a summary of each subject officer interview. DFC Timothy DeGrasse on March 7, 2025, DFC DeGrasse arrived at headquarters for his interview with Internal Affairs. DFC DeGrasse was provided with a private room to review the documents regarding his case. On March 7, 2025, at approximately 5:11 p.m., DFC DeGrasse provided a sworn taped statement, without representation, after having been read Garrity Notification of Rights. DFC DeGrasse was placed under oath and signed the statement form. DFC DeGrasse was advised of the focus of the interview and that his job performance will be discussed. DeGrasse advised he and other squad members Epeards, O'Keefe, and Wilson all met at a shopping plaza near McCall RD and Placida RD. They then all met near Englewood Hospital in Sarasota County, where they met SCSO deputies, Corporal Underwood, and DFC Earner. DeGrasse stated prior to going into the wooded area they were almost instructed not to turn on their BWCs. He believes something was said prior to going in but does not recall the exact words. Later in his statement, DeGrasse states Corporal Epeards told him not to turn on his BWC. In another portion of his statement, DeGrasse explains that he was told to turn off his BWC by means of the corporal looking at his BWC then look at him because Epeards could see the BWC light blinking. DeGrasse explained that he was not sure if Underwood and Earner were present during this time when the discussion occurred about not turning on the BWCs. DeGrasse went on to explain they all went into the homeless camps to look for the wanted female. They did not locate the female but ended up locating a male subject with a warrant. This subject had fled from SCSO Deputy Yoder. DeGrasse stated he ran after the subject, Brian Burke, and caught him. He used hands-on force to push the subject down and attempted to secure the subject. DeGrasse observed O'Keefe with his taser activated and pointed at Burke, and Wilson also had his taser out. He noticed that Earner's taser fell out of its holster. DeGrasse stated he should have completed a use of force report for the hands-on force he utilized. He advised that he was not instructed to do any reports, and since he was first told not to turn on his BWC he was under the assumption they were not doing anything. DeGrasse stated he told Corporal Epeards that he had used hands-on force with subject Burke. DeGrasse explained that he changed his BWC video in evidence.com to IA 2025-032 page 12 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office false activation. DeGrasse stated after the incident was over, it was discussed amongst the group, his squad members, to label the videos as false activation. DeGrasse stated the video was not a false activation. Concerning language used on scene, he advised he used foul language at subject Burke while trying to get him into custody and struggling with him. He advised O'Keefe kept saying "F off Brian." He believed the language used by O'Keefe was excessive because Burke had already been secured and the incident was over. DeGrasse was emotional during his interview and stated he knew what occurred was wrong. He explained he should have spoken up as he knew things were wrong, he was sorry, and this will never occur again. DFC Jacob Earner on March 10, 2025, DFC Earner arrived at headquarters for his interview with Internal Affairs. DFC Earner was provided with a private room to review the documents regarding his case. On March 10, 2025, at approximately 11:26 a.m., DFC Earner provided a sworn taped statement, without representation, after having been read Guarantee Notification of Rights. DFC Earner was placed under oath and signed the statement form. DFC Earner was advised of the focus of the interview and that his job performance will be discussed. Earner advised he had spoken with Corporal Epeards and learned District 1 deputies were going to check homeless camps near Englewood Hospital, and Epeards advised he could go if he wanted to. Earner responded to the hospital about the same time as Corporal Underwood. District 1 deputies, SCCO deputies, and a subject he thought was a probation officer were already on scene. They discussed going into the wooded area to check homeless camps for a female subject with a warrant and possibly a male subject with a warrant, implying Jacques Gentis. Earner advised they did not locate the female, but a male subject was located who had a warrant and was talking with the female SCSO deputy. The subject ended up running from the deputy and he observed DeGrasse chasing after him. He eventually caught up with the subject and observed DeGrasse and O'Keefe hands-on with the subject. Earner stated he went hands-on with the subject by holding onto his hair as he had no shirt and was slippery with sweat. Earner explained his taser fell out of its holster in front of the subject and Earner put his arm around the subject's body with his arm between his chin and chest, keeping him from moving forward. Earner then IA 2025-032 page 13 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office retrieved his taser and reholstered. Earner advised O'Keefe had drawn and activated his taser and he believed someone else had their taser out but was not sure who. Earner stated he and the other deputies eventually were able to secure the subject in handcuffs. Earner advised he only used hands-on force with the subject. Earner stated he did not complete a use of force report. He was advised by Corporal Underwood that District 1 deputies were going to complete the Blue Team reports and that he would need to do a supplemental report. He stated he was confused on the use of force report and show of force report and knows now that he needs to complete his own use of force report. Earner stated he heard no discussions concerning not activating BWCs prior to checking the camps. He stated he did not activate his BWC. When asked why, Earner stated because the subject they were out with was not the subject they were looking for and he did not expect the subject to do what he did. Earner stated he now understands that his BWC needs to be on at initial contact. Earner stated he did not label his BWC video that was activated by a taser activation. He stated he is lackadaisical in labeling his videos at times and he believed District 1 deputies were going to label his video when they completed the Blue Team's report he thought they were going to complete. Earner stated that no one told him not to activate his BWC. He also stated that no one told him not to label the BWC video. Concerning excessive foul language used during the incident, Earner stated profanity was used by O'Keefe after the subject was already handcuffed. He stated O'Keefe used F-bombs that were directed at Brian Burke. Looking back at this incident, Earner stated he would have completed his report in a timely manner, he would have completed the Blue Team report, and understands his BWC needs to be activated during interactions with the public. He advised it is his fault for not having it on. Deputy Daniel Wilson on March 12, 2025, Deputy Wilson arrived at headquarters for his interview with Internal Affairs. Deputy Wilson was provided with a private room to review the documents regarding his case. On March 12, 2025, at approximately 5:06 p.m., Deputy Wilson provided a sworn taped statement, with FOP Representative Doug Muller present, after having been read Garrity Notification of Rights. Deputy Wilson was placed under oath and signed the statement form. Deputy Wilson was advised of the focus of the interview and that his job performance will be discussed. IA 2025-032 page 14 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Wilson advised Corporal Epeards called him to meet as they were going to attempt to locate wanted subjects at a homeless camp near Englewood Hospital in Sarasota County. District 1 deputies and a bondsman all met at a shopping plaza near Placida RD. They then responded to Englewood Hospital and met SCSO deputies. They did not locate the intended subject, but another subject was located who ended up running from a SCSO deputy. DeGrasse and Earner ran after the subject and by the time he caught up with all of them DeGrasse, Earner, and O'Keefe were struggling to secure the subject. He stayed back and then drew his taser. He stated he placed the taser on the subject's shoulder area and pointed the laser dots at his chest. When asked if he held the taser against the subject's chest, he replied just the laser dots. I then showed him a screenshot of him holding the taser against the subject's chest and he agreed that he did. He agreed this was not an ideal location to place the taser. Wilson advised O'Keefe also had his taser drawn and that Earner's taser fell from his vest. Wilson stated he did not complete a show of force report. When asked why, he stated he had no answer why. Wilson stated there was discussion of labeling the BWC videos as false activations. Being the new guy, he stated he followed in line with this action. He advised this discussion occurred after the incident occurred. He does not know who said to do this, but all agreed to do it. Wilson stated no one told him not to activate his BWC nor to write a report. Wilson advised he did not activate his BWC upon arrival to the scene and his reasoning for this was that the contacts made at the homeless camps were consensual and not investigative. Wilson stated he labeled his BWC video as a false activation and stated that the activation was not false. Wilson advised he knew it was wrong. Wilson stated that at one time he believed he used foul language at the subject Brian Burke and that O'Keefe used foul language at Burke even after he was secured in handcuffs. Looking back on this incident, Wilson stated he would have completed a report, activated his BWC earlier, and labeled his BWC video. IA 2025-032 page 15 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office DFC Sean O'Keefe on March 12, 2025, DFC O'Keefe arrived at headquarters for his interview with Internal Affairs. DFC O'Keefe was provided with a private room to review the documents regarding his case. On March 12, 2025, at approximately 6:20 p.m., DFC O'Keefe provided a sworn taped statement, with FOP Representative Doug Muller present, after having been read guarantee notification of rights. DFC O'Keefe was placed under oath and signed the statement form. DFC O'Keefe was advised of the focus of the interview and that his job performance will be discussed. O'Keefe advised that Corporal Epeards contacted him in reference to searching homeless camps near Englewood Hospital in Sarasota County for a wanted female subject. O'Keefe advised that CCSO and SCSO deputies all met prior to going into the wooded area to the camps. They did not locate the female subject but did locate a subject he knew as Brian Burke who had active warrants. O'Keefe advised that while in the homeless camp he heard someone yell "He is running" and then observed Burke. He advised DeGrasse and he went hands-on with Burke in attempts to detain him. Burke resisted their efforts. O'Keefe stated he drew and activated his taser. O'Keefe explained that eventually DeGrasse, Earner, and SCSO Yoder were able to secure Burke in handcuffs. O'Keefe advised that Wilson also had his taser out and that Earner's taser fell from his vest. O'Keefe explained that he used hands-on force and had a show of force with his taser and he did not complete a Blue Team's report. When asked why he did not complete the report, he stated post-incident there was discussion and there was a severe lapse in judgment. O'Keefe advised the discussion included his squad members and believes Corporal Epeards was present as well. O'Keefe stated no one told him not to complete a report. O'Keefe stated he did not activate his BWC and that his BWC was activated by his taser and Wilson's taser. When asked why he did not activate his BWC, he stated it was a lapse in judgment and that the encounters in the homeless camp area were more of a consensual encounter. O'Keefe stated there was no discussion prior to going into the camps concerning not activating BWCs. O'Keefe stated no one directed him to not activate his BWC. O'Keefe stated he labeled his BWC video as a false activation and that it was not a false activation. When asked why, O'Keefe answered that it was a unanimous decision to label as false and he takes accountability for his own action, stating it was poor judgment. O'Keefe stated no one directed him to label the video as false activation. IA 2025-032 page 16 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. O'Keefe acknowledged his excessive foul language directed at Brian Burke, stating he let his emotions get the best of him. He stated he takes accountability for what he said. O'Keefe stated he was not corrected or counseled by Corporal Epeards on his use of language. O'Keefe was asked looking back what would he have done differently. He responded he would have activated his BWC before entering the area, he would not have used the uncalled for language, he would properly label his videos and would have completed reports. Corporal Russell Epeards on March 13, 2025, Corporal Epeards arrived at headquarters for his interview with Internal Affairs. Corporal Epeards was provided with a private room to review the documents regarding his case. On March 13, 2025, at approximately 4:41 p.m., Corporal Epeards provided a sworn taped statement, with FOP Representative Doug Muller present, after having been read guarantee notification of rights. Corporal Epeards was placed under oath and signed the statement form. Corporal Epeards was advised of the focus of the interview and that his job performance will be discussed. Epeards stated he obtained information from Bondsman Santiago about a female with a warrant who may be at the homeless camps near Englewood Hospital. Epeards contacted members of his squad, and all met near the hospital in Sarasota County. Epeards also contacted SCSO Deputy Yoder, and she and another deputy responded. Epeards advised Deputies Earner and Underwood also responded to assist. Epeards contacted dispatch and generated a call for service. Epeards could not recall who closed the call, but the call was closed as status 1 ICR/no report. Epeards stated he was the only supervisor in District 1, and it was his screw-up for not contacting the District 2 supervisors for assistance in supervisor coverage. Epeards stated he did not activate his BWC upon arrival at the homeless camps. He advised his BWC activated while he was jogging to a camp as he was responding to a commotion that he heard. He advised he thought he set off his BWC due to him jogging. He did not know until later that his BWC was activated again by a taser. When asked why he did not activate his BWC upon initial contact at scene, he responded that he generally does not activate his BWC unless something is going on. Epeards stated there was no discussion prior to the incident concerning not activating BWCs. When asked why other deputies stated this occurred and he responded he had no idea. Epeards stated that he labeled his BWC video as miscellaneous and does not know why. IA 2025-032 page 17 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Epeards advised when he was responding to the commotion he heard, he arrived at a camp where he observed his members wrestling with a subject, later identified as Brian Burke, and attempting to secure him in handcuffs. Epeards, at the time, was not aware of any tasers being used by O'Keefe and Wilson. Epeards stated he was not aware of any excessive foul language used by O'Keefe but did hear someone comment "F off." He stated while on scene his attention was split and was not aware of the language. He stated had he been aware of the language, he would have addressed it with O'Keefe. After the incident occurred with Brian Burke, Epeards stated a discussion came up of tasers being drawn and activated. He was advised there was no force used with the taser. Epeards stated they collectively agreed to mark their BWC videos as false activations. When asked why everyone, including him, agreed to label the BWC videos as false, Epeards replied it was a lapse in judgment, and they were all being dumbasses. Epeards stated he is the supervisor and agrees they should have just documented the incident. He stated as the supervisor, he should have corrected his members in their decision. Epeards stated he did not specifically tell anyone not to activate their BWCs nor to not write reports. Looking back on the incident, Epeards stated he would have stayed in the district as the supervisor and he would have documented the incident. Epeards stated labeling the BWC videos as false activations was not done maliciously but done as taking a shortcut. He advised they were not trying to cover anything up. Once all subject officer statements were obtained, I contacted DFC DeGrasse, DFC Earner, Deputy Wilson, and DFC O'Keefe and advised all statements were complete and ready for their review. Each deputy responded, via email, stating they wished to waive their right to review the additional statements. Conclusion: during this investigation, I reviewed all documents and audio files regarding the chain of events and all the details involved. In addition, I have obtained and reviewed all other supporting information, along with Charlotte County Sheriff's Office General Order 3.50, the policy governing guidelines for appropriate conduct/disciplinary procedures. Based on the investigation, it is clear the deputies below violated Charlotte County Sheriff's Office policies and procedures, and the following policy violations are described below. IA 2025-032 page 18 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. This investigator finds there is a preponderance of evidence to indicate: 1. Deputy Daniel Wilson violated CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.3 neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property. Specifically the following: CCSOGO 11.52 BWC and mobile video recorders / patrol procedure P007 section F.2, sustained CCSOGO 11.41 taser section H.5 sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.14 neglect of duty offenses completion of reports and documents, sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.D.12 improper conduct offenses conduct unbecoming sustained brief summary of each charge of Deputy Wilson. 1. Deputy Wilson failed to activate his BWC upon his arrival on scene. 2. Deputy Wilson drew his taser and placed the taser against the suspect's chest while activated. 3. Deputy Wilson failed to complete a show of force report. 4. Deputy Wilson labeled his BWC video as a false activation knowing it was not a false activation. 2. DFC Timothy DeGrasse violated CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.3 neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property, specifically the following: CCSOGO 11.52 BWC and mobile video recorders / patrol procedure P007 section F.2 sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.14 neglect of duty offenses completion of reports and documents, sustained. CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.D.12 improper conduct offenses conduct unbecoming sustained brief summary of each charge of DFC DeGrasse. 1. DFC DeGrasse failed to activate his BWC upon arrival on scene. 2. DFC DeGrasse failed to complete a use of force report. 3. DFC DeGrasse labeled his BWC video as a false activation knowing it was not a false activation. 3. DFC Jacob Earner violated CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.3 neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property, specifically the following: CCSOGO 11.52 BWC and mobile video recorders / patrol procedure P007 section C.6.a. and F.2 sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.14 neglect of duty offenses completion of reports and documents, sustained brief summary of each charge of DFC Earner. 1. DFC Earner failed to activate his BWC upon arrival on scene and failed to label / tag his video. 2. DFC Earner failed to complete a use of force report. IA 2025-032 page 19 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office 4, DFC Sean O'Keefe violated CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.3 neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property, specifically the following: CCSOGO 11.52 BWC and mobile video recorders / patrol procedure P007 section F.2 sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.14 neglect of duty offenses completion of reports and documents, sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.D.12 improper conduct offenses conduct unbecoming, false activation, sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.D.12 improper conduct offenses conduct unbecoming, language, sustained brief summary of each charge of DFC O'Keefe. 1. DFC O'Keefe failed to activate his BWC upon arrival on scene. 2. DFC O'Keefe failed to complete a use / show of force report. 3. DFC O'Keefe labeled his BWC video as a false activation knowing it was not a false activation. 4. DFC O'Keefe used excessive foul language toward the suspect being detained. 5. Corporal Russell Epeards violated CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.3 neglect of duty offenses, violation of official procedures or directives, not endangering persons or property, specifically the following: CCSOGO 11.52 BWC and mobile video recorders / patrol procedure P007 section F.2, sustained CCSOGO 3.50 I.4.B.15 neglect of duty offenses neglect of duty, loafing, inattention to duties or procedures. Sustained brief summary of each charge of Corporal Epeards. 1. Corporal Epeards failed to activate his BWC upon arrival on scene. 2. Corporal Epeards failed to perform supervisory duties. Corporal Epeards failed to get supervisory coverage for his district while he was out of county. Corporal Epeards failed to supervise as he was aware of the taser use and did not ensure reports were completed. Corporal Epeards failed to supervise and correct his subordinates as he was aware of the taser use and their discussion of labeling/tagging the BWC videos as false activations, the allegation of not counseling DFC O'Keefe for his excessive language could not be substantiated as there was no evidence to show Corporal Epeards was aware of the language used by O'Keefe. IA 2025-032 page 20 of 21 Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. The CCSO deputies involved in this incident responded out of the county with the intent of checking homeless camps for subjects with active warrants. An agency assist call for service was generated by Corporal Epeards. Corporal Epeards had members of his squad meet in the area of Englewood Hospital along with DFC Earner, Corporal Underwood, and 2 Sarasota County deputies. Upon arrival, the deputies involved did not activate their BWCs. Their BWCs were not activated until tasers were activated approximately 1 hour after they arrived on scene, when a subject with a warrant fled from a SCSO deputy and resisted efforts to be secured in handcuffs. CCSO deputies used hands-on force and displayed tasers in attempts to secure the wanted subject. The deputies involved using hands-on force and show of force did not complete reports in blue teams. 3 of the 5 deputies labeled/tagged their BWC videos as false activation, knowing they were not false activations. Corporal Epeards was aware of the use of the taser and was present during a group discussion where they all discussed labeling the video as false activation. Corporal Epeards did not correct his members on the proper procedure and did not ensure reports were completed. All subject officers, when interviewed by Internal Affairs, acknowledged their shortcomings and took responsibility for their actions. I, the undersigned, do hereby swear, under penalty of perjury, to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief, I have not knowingly or willfully deprived, or allowed another to deprive, the subject of the investigation of any rights contained in SS 112.532 and 112.533, Florida Statutes. /S/Lieutenant John Hamp, number 0335, Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, Internal Affairs Unit, IA 2025-032, page 21 of 21.